So, what's up this morning, chat? This morning, I'm going to be showing you guys a tutorial on how to change your airbox on your E46. If you got one, you know it's an M54 engine with stock airbox, completely bone stock. Mine is completely bone stock right now, and I just got a new Mishimoto Cold Air Intake, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove your stock airbox and put in your new custom air intake on your 2004 BMW E46 330 Ci. Mine's not a base model. This is a convertible. So for some of you people with a base model, it might be a little different, but everything should be about the same for taking it off and putting it on. So, all right, let's get to it. Right now, what we're gonna do is go ahead and undo our mass air filter, and then that's gonna help us free up the stock airbox and give you some access to take it off without any wiring issues being in your way of your job in the process. Just put that to the side somewhere. And your wiring should be the same way it's put back on. The same way you took it off should be the same way you have it put back on, just so none of the wirings get mixed up when it's reading with the ECU. The next thing you're gonna need is two 10s. Well, I got 10s. You guys might have something different set up, but I have two 10s bolts here attached to my subframe. That's bolted on my my stock airbox. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Next thing you're gonna want to do is remove your clamp that's attached to your intake boot and attached to your mass air filter, because we're gonna need to take the mass air filter out. I think it's an easier way to do the whole job by just removing the mass air filter, and then so that way you'll free up all the space you need to install the stock intake hose. So that, for me, it's an 8, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my 8. Now when that's removed, next thing you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and unplug this hose in the back of your intake boot that's linked into the your engine manifold. I'll get a zoom in. This hose. Remove. Go ahead and put that to the side somewhere. Okay. Now that you got all your everything's bolt free and off and loose, you can go ahead and start taking out your stock gearbox. Mine's already been removed. I had a previously I put a cold air intake in there with aluminum or I think it was a titanium intake boot. I was getting some lean codes, and the boot wasn't fitting right for my engine, so I had to put the stock airbox back on to test it to see if it would change anything and get rid of my codes, and it did. So that's why my setup's not probably the same as you guys who probably have a custom setup. Or stock setup. Mine's have been messed with and removed and put back on a little bit, couple times. So here is your mass air filter, you're going to want to take these two clips that's attached to the stock gearbox and go ahead and remove that. Just like that. Be careful with your mass air filter because we don't want to damage anything inside. This is a brand new one, so it's going to be a little bit of a fight to get it off. Okay, all right. Now that you got your mass air filter off and your stock air box is completely separated from it, you can go ahead and put this aside somewhere. You don't want to touch this part. This is where your engine reads all the airflow that's going into your car to let it know it's getting in enough airflow, so that you don't want to mess with that and touch it. But otherwise, put this aside somewhere safe, just so you can put it back on later with your custom air intake. And then you want to get your Mishimoto heat shield. First, what we're going to do is we're going to mock it up, see how it fits, and then afterwards we know how it fits. After, we're going to start applying the your intake hose and your Mishimoto Cold Air Intake cone, along with your intake boot with the label on it. Put that all together once you know how it fits. And guys, the same way you took your mass air filter off, be the same way you're putting it back on. So remember which way you took the sensor off. Remember which way it was facing when you took it off. The same way it was facing when you took it off would be the same way it was facing when you took it when you put it back on. So for me, mine would be facing to the right, this way, to connect to the adapter. Just look and see and remember how yours was looking before you go ahead and put it on. You don't want to put it on the opposite way, or things might not read well with your ECU and you might get codes. So. So guys, right now, what I'm doing is putting everything back on the same way I took it off. It will help if you guys have an extra intake hose clamp to seal off any possible leaks or air that could be coming from the intake boot connected to the mass air filter. Mishimoto doesn't give you a spare one, so if you guys have one from your old stocked airbox, I would recommend using one, and just to secure that spot, just so you won't get no leaks or no lean codes from that spot once the air filter is up and running. So for me, I got a spare one laying around, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. I'm working with a 5 by 16th millimeter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on, make sure everything's secure and tight, and there's no leaks. Well, that didn't fit, so I'm gonna need to go and get a bigger one. So guys, I actually went and found something better than just an intake clamp. I actually got a carbon fiber elbow for intake boot that I'm gonna be adding to my cold air intake. Right now I'm mocking it up to see how it fits, how I can get it to get in there without it bulking up and hitting against my hood. But for now, I think I'm going to go ahead and try running that instead of just using the one intake boot. I'm going to have a carbon fiber cold air intake boot outlet that's attached to the cold air intake air filter. But this is all just like an experiment, so I'm going to go ahead and see how this might fit together. See, I have a bunch of sizes, different various sizes that I can put onto the intake boots and cold air intake hose and filter to make sure everything's nice and snug and I don't have no leaks or anything like that. Alright, twin, so today, so I went back and got me some new couplers, some new clamps to fit around the E46 custom intake boot. I had to run an AutoZone. Shout out to AutoZone for hooking me up with these, because I saw that putting some some zip ties around that wasn't gonna be the best idea. So then I went on and went and got me some of these bad boys. Extra large, jumbo size, clamps. Hopefully they fit. I'm just gonna mock them up to it, see how they, how they sit, and hopefully I won't need any zip ties, which in case I do, I got some extra large ones just in case, so I know these are definitely gonna fit. But I'm gonna try these just to see. And then there you go. They do. So I'm a little OCD when it comes to this stuff, so I'm probably gonna put like 2 of them on there just to make sure everything's secure and tight. Or maybe not, maybe just the one will be alright, but I'll give it a try.